You are a highly intuitive person, and I know that sometimes you doubt this about yourself because different emotions start to creep in. Things like fear, anxiety, overwhelm, doubt. And when these things creep in, you start to question whether or not you're really intuitive and if these other feelings can be trusted. And the most common question that people have when it comes to more negative emotions is that of fear. People often wonder, how do I know the difference between my intuition and my fear? And that's a great question. It makes sense that we would ask this because we don't want fear to call the shots. But we also are mindful that not every decision that we make is going to work out the way that we want it to. And so when we have a big choice, when we are facing a decision that can either make us or break us, and we have this mix of hope and fear, it's understandable that we would stop and we would ask, which one's correct? Do I make this decision? Do I take a leap of faith and hope for the best and trust for the best and know that good things are going to happen? Or do I listen to my fear and wait for something better to come along? These are valid points and valid questions. So when we are asking, how do I know the difference between my intuition and fear? I have news for you. That's actually the wrong question, because your fear is a part of you just as your intuition is. And just as there is wisdom within your intuition, there's actually profound wisdom within your fear as well. So instead of asking, which one of these do I trust? A better question, a more fruitful and productive question is, what is my fear trying to tell me? Why is fear present? Why is it showing up? When fear shows up, it is because something needs to be addressed. This could be a belief that you have about yourself. This could be things about a situation that don't necessarily make sense, or it could even stem from a fear that you've had for a long time that may not even be based on any type of belief. Kind of like how some people are afraid of heights, or some people are afraid of bugs. We're afraid of these things because we know that they could potentially hurt us, even though statistics show us that we're probably safe if we walk on a bridge, so long as we don't, jump off of it. We're safe around most bugs. Bugs don't want to be touched. They want to be left alone. So as long as we leave them alone, we're safe, right? But we still have these fears because we have a concept and perception of the danger that these things could cause in the worst scenario. But when it comes to making decisions, when it comes to moving forward in life, the fear factor is different, right? It's not usually about a fear of heights or a fear of travel, although sometimes that does come into play. So when fear shows up, I think it's important to acknowledge that fear oftentimes is our intuition. It is a part of our intuition. When we are contemplating a big move in our life, and this can be switching careers, going to school, getting married, giving our spouse or a partner a second chance after they betrayed us in some way, after they lied to us. It could be diving into a new spiritual community that we're a little unsure of. Fear comes up because there is no situation on earth that is 100% solid and positive. Every single situation that we find ourselves in is going to have some type of challenge. Even if it's something magical and happy, like getting pregnant, getting married, planning a vacation, going on a trip, going to an amusement park. If you're me and you love roller coasters, there's always going to be some type of challenge. So nothing is perfect. I guess I'm speaking in absolutes, huh? I shouldn't say nothing, but most things come with challenges, and very rarely is every situation or any situation completely perfect. And that's why your fear comes in. The fear comes in to give you a little bit of a reality check. It's letting you know that This is an exciting opportunity, but there might be things, and there are things, that you're not seeing in the situation yet. So again, instead of asking, is this intuition or fear? Because it is both. Your intuition uses fear to speak to you, to get a message across. So fear is just as helpful as intuition is. We're going to talk to the fear directly and ask, what is it that you want me to know? What is it that you're warning me of? And because you are a very intuitive person, let me say that again because I think you're not sold on it. Because you, my friend, you are a very, very intuitive person. And I know that, by the way, because you're here watching this video. Because you're a very intuitive person, when you ask fear, why is it here? You're going to get an answer. You are going to get an answer, guaranteed. That is a guarantee from the universe, not me. I'm just the mouthpiece. But every single time I've had fear about a situation, whether it was a person, a relationship I was about to dive into, a relationship I was about to leave, any time that there is a big change I'm about to make and I'm feeling a little bit of fear, a little bit of doubt, I always ask that fear, what is it that I don't see? What is it that you're trying to tell me? Because your fear sees something that you don't see yet. And most of the time, when your fear speaks up, it's going to be right. So when you ask fear this question, like, why are you here? And that's really the only question you need to ask. Like, why are you here? Why did you show up? You are going to get an answer within a couple of days. And this answer could show up in so many different ways. It could show up as the person that you want to know about could ghost you. The person that you want to know about is suddenly terrible to you. The move that you're about to make suddenly falls through somehow, or there's a cost that was unexpected with the move that's astronomical. There is something that you learn about the new job you're about to take. You will get an answer when it comes to fear. You might even have a dream that reveals to you the beliefs that you have about yourself that you're carrying into the next situation. And when that happens, that's a fear about your own ability to self-sabotage, which obviously you probably don't want. It could show up in so many different ways, and there will be a message in it for you. It could even be thoughts that come up in your head. It could be a song that pops up. I remember one time there was a person that I was unsure about. It was a lovely lady. and I'm laughing as I say that because she seemed lovely on the outside, like she seemed charming, but there was something inside of me that was saying something is so off. And so I was praying about this woman because she had invited me to this event, and I was like, I'm not sure if I should go. Something feels so wrong. Something feels so off. And so I prayed to the universe, and I was like, I really need an answer on what to do. Like, should I trust this person? Should I, like, what? I don't know what to do. So I go into my car and I turn on the ignition because I'm getting ready to go run some errands. And a song comes on the radio. Now, I'm pretty sure I didn't have my radio on the last time I drove my car. I'm pretty sure of that. And you know what song was playing? Pretender by Foo Fighters. That was my answer right there, letting me know this person is a pretender. My intuition was right. And later on, I think it was just a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks later, she had posted something interesting in a Facebook group. And to me, it just revealed her true colors that I was kind of tuning into. And so that's one way that your fear will connect with you. And remember, it's not really your fear that's talking to you. It's your intuition, it's your higher self, it's the universe, whatever it is that's out there that provides us with this source of information. fear is looking out for you. The universe is looking out for you. Angels, your higher self, all of heaven is looking out for you. And I hope that makes you feel good. I hope that makes you feel safe and better and solid. Because think about that for a second. All of heaven, the universe, the very power that created the stars, that created all the magical things we see on Earth, the aurora borealis, shooting stars, all those amazing things in space, the flowers, the trees, everything that you love, the very source that made everything that you love is looking out for you. And it does use fear to get your attention, not to scare you and not to break you of your hopes and your dreams, but to give you some guidance, to give you a guideline so that you don't walk into a situation blind, so that you don't make a choice that's going to break your heart later. And I know that you've been through that just as I have, where your intuition showed up as fear and you ignored it and you chose to believe in your hope and in a vision that you had. And when fear kept stepping in and saying something's off, like be careful, you threw caution to the wind. Not because you're dumb, not because you lack intuition, not because your chakras weren't aligned, but because you are a beautiful, wonderful human with a beautiful, gorgeous vision for your future. And you took a chance on yourself to see if that vision would come true. And in some cases it's worked out, right? Like, let's give ourselves some credit. In some cases that worked out. And when we were in that situation and had the experience, we saw what fear was trying to warn us about. It may not have been a big issue, and if it was something we were able to handle and overcome and take care of, and that probably felt good. And so there were just and wonderful rewards waiting for us because we took the leap of faith. We saw what our fear was warning us about. We got through it anyway, and then something magical and wonderful happened. That happens to a lot, and I won't say all, but to a lot of people who step into their authenticity, who believe in their psychic self, who step away from the spiritual beliefs that were placed on them that they never really believed in to begin with. And then they take that mask off, they take that false sense of self out, and they step out into the world as their beautiful, lustrous, shiny self. And they talk about who they really are, and they find their community. And in doing that, they're following the path of their heart, of their soul, but there's still danger with it because they may lose family members. They may lose friendships. They may get mocked. All of us have been through this. All of us who have been through that experience of walking away from belief systems, whether it was through a political structure or a religious foundation, whatever it is, we walked away and stepped into our authentic spiritual path. And there was a price to pay for that. But you know what? The price was worth it. The price was worth it because now you're standing in authenticity, integrity, and the truth of who you are. And few things are more beautiful than that. But your intuition would have been lying to you if it told you that it was going to be so easy from here on out. Your intuition would not have been honest with you if it didn't allow fear to come in and let you know what the price would be for being authentic, what the consequences could be in terms of losing your current community. And that's really hard because there's people that we love, there's experience we want to continue to have. And when we walk away from that, it's hard, right? Yes, those people will be replaced. Yes, we'll get a new community. Yes, there are definitely wonderful gifts that come from following the calling of our heart. But there's a price too. And so that's why I'm saying that it's not a question of, is this my intuition or is this my fear? It's really a question of, why is the fear here? What is it telling me? What is it warning me of? Because remember, your fear wants to protect you, because the universe wants to protect you, because your higher self and your own nervous system all want to protect you. So we can actually be grateful for fear when it comes. And we can use fear as the wise friend that it is, and we can stop demonizing it, because fear is not evil. Fear is not bad. Fear can actually be a very logical approach, a very logical emotion to different situations that we come in contact with. So I think it's so important to embrace our fear as much as we embrace intuition. You know, we all want to be more intuitive. We want to be more loving, more caring, more psychic. We want to make better choices. And the truth is, we wouldn't be able to do all of that without a sense of fear, because fear can come with so many gifts. And I know that's so different from what you've been taught. It's so different from what I've been taught too. But as I look at my past experiences, I can see how fear played a positive role, and how if I had listened to fear in specific situations, I would be in a much better situation myself. You know, I could have avoided, oh man, one of the most devastating, heartbreaking experiences of my life that I'm still not completely over. But you know what? It is what it is at this point. You know, I didn't listen to my fear. I dove into something. I had hope for the future. It fell flat on its face. But you know what? I survived, just as you have, and just as you will. So if you're in a situation, even right now, where you chose not to listen to fear because you had faith, I want you to know you weren't wrong for making that decision. No one's here to judge you or to place any type of blame on you. It was okay for you to take a step in faith, because the truth is, we have to take action that is in alignment with who we are. And sometimes when we do that, life doesn't smile on us. The people that we jump in line with, that we jump on a boat with, they're not who we thought they were. But if we hadn't had that experience, we never would have known it. And if we hadn't had that experience, we might forever look back at it and say, oh, but what if? You know, I didn't take that job, and now I'm looking back and I should have. Like, where would my life be had I just not listened to my fear and taken that job anyway? Hey, you know what? You could have ended up with an abusive boss. You could have ended up laid off. You could, we don't know. We don't know. Just because we didn't end up where we wanted to be doesn't even mean we made the wrong choice, because we don't know what would have happened if we made the other one either. And sometimes we're met with experiences, choices, decisions in life where neither of the options feel good. There's fear associated with all of them. And sometimes that fear isn't just an intuitive vibe. It's our analytical mind looking at the situations, doing the calculations, and realizing, hey, this is bad. And so sometimes you just have to make the best decision based on the information that you have, the gut feeling that you have, what makes the most sense to you in that moment, and make the choice that's most likely to get you to where you want to go, or that's going to maybe cause the less destruction or pain. And it's hard, but it is life, right? The good news though, is that while fear is there to warn you of the possible setbacks and challenges and heartaches and the difficulties, you know, fear can come into your world and feel like anxiety, and it's just letting you know, okay, this is going to be hard, this is going to be stressful. And sometimes it's through that our adrenaline goes, and our adrenaline pumps through our veins and helps us get through those tough moments, right? And so that's not a bad thing. That can be actually very helpful. And we also have hope and faith that says, this is going to be tough. This is going to suck. This is going to be horrible, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are good things waiting for you. Good is going to come out of this. So my friend, when you find yourselves in this situation where you're faced with fear and you're moving into a direction of the things that you think you want, I want you to always, always, always speak to yourself with so much compassion, so much encouragement, and remind yourself that you are a child of the universe. You are a beloved child of the universe. You are resourceful because you are connected to Source. And anything that you need can come your way. So even when you're facing hard times, even when your fear turned out to be right, we didn't want to acknowledge that fear was right, the universe still is on your side. It is still in your corner. It just might take a while to pave the way to get you out of the situation that you're in. It might just take a while to mend the hurt and the pain and the heartache that you're currently feeling. And again, these outcomes don't mean that you were wrong to make the choice that you made. They just mean that life is hard sometimes. It just means that your fear and your intuition is probably stronger than you thought, right? You probably learned, and I hope you learned, that you can trust your fear. You can trust your fear. Fear is not there to hold you back from anything that is good for you. That's not what fear is there. Fear is there to protect you, to give you a heads up, to give you a warning. And again, to let you know, hey, this thing that you're looking forward to, it's not always greener on the other side. It's not all butterflies and rainbows. It's not all good. But even in situations that hurt us, there probably was some good in it, right? There's something positive that happened with the new job, the new relationship. It's just sad that it didn't last and that things went south the way that they did. But again, not your fault, right? Not your fault. It's just how life kind of goes sometimes. And as you continue to heal from that situation and move on, you are going to look back at these past instances, these past situations, and you'll be able to find things that you learned. And it's so hard sometimes, though, when we get out of a situation and people are like, oh, well, what lesson did you learn? Because the truth is sometimes there isn't a lesson. Like, if we're completely honest, there's not some type of profound lesson. We didn't learn anything that we didn't know before, but certain things that we may have already had can be stronger. And what I mean by that is if you're someone who is naturally empathic, when you go through something difficult and you get out of it, your empathy tends to grow. If you're psychic, which again, I know you are, if you're very intuitive, and I know you are, and your intuition warns you about something to the point where you're probably getting physical sensations, like you're feeling physical heaviness in your body, and you get out of that situation that your psychic senses were just warning you about and prickly about, and I won't harp on that because you know what I'm talking about, right? When you get out of that situation, you might find yourself becoming more psychic. There's sometimes situations that we as psychics and intuitive people find ourselves in where our gifts and abilities will shut down because we're in survival mode. And being psychic may not help in that situation. And also, if we are paralyzed in fear, so this is the bad kind of fear, because obviously we don't want to be in the type of fear that we're paralyzed in, that's when there's a problem. When we are in survivor mode and our anxiety is too much and fear seems to be plotting every path of our course, that's when we just don't have the energy to be psychic or intuitive. And it's also when we have a hard time feeling our angels and feeling Source and feeling support from the very essence of life. When we're in survival mode, that's just really hard to lean into. It's not impossible. And even if we don't feel connected to Source, we're still connected to Source, right? It's kind of like when I plug in my cell phone, I don't feel like my cell phone's been plugged in, but it is plugged in. I know it's plugged in. It's the same thing with us in our energy sometimes. Some things are true whether you believe them or not. Some things are true whether you feel them or not. Just always try to be mindful of what your fear is warning you of, and maybe sometimes it's asking you a question too. Sometimes it's asking you to trust yourself instead of trusting someone else. I can count numerous times where for whatever reason I didn't trust my own instincts, and I made the mistake of going to a trusted friend and asking that person for advice. And they gave it to me, and they weren't necessarily wrong. I mean, they were coming from a good place. I know that in their heart, they wanted what was best for me. And so they gave their advice, and I followed it because, again, I was in survivor mode. I had so many things going on, and I had made decisions that didn't work out the way that I had thought they would. And so I lost trust in myself, and I lost trust in my intuition. And so I went to other people. Because at that point I was like, I just need someone who's not a cult leader to tell me what to do with my life. Like, I just need someone to give me some direction. And they did. You know, people who love you are going to be totally open to giving you advice, and they're going to give you advice that they believe is right for you. But the question is, do you believe it's right for you? What is your intuition and heart telling you? And I can look back at so many times when I followed their direction and their advice, and while they weren't wrong in the advice that they gave, it wasn't correct for me or my situation or where my path and my spirit was maybe trying to take me. And so the advice that they gave me, even though I followed it, it didn't work out. It blew up in my face. And deep down in my heart, I knew that there was something else I should have done. But again, I just was in a place where I wasn't trusting myself. So I wasn't trusting anything that came up, whether it was intuition, fear, spirit guides talking to me, dreams. Like, I just didn't trust anything because I felt like everything in my life was going wrong. So my friend, I hope that this was helpful for you. Remember, you are divinely guided and supported by a very loving universe. If you found this video helpful, then please share it with a friend, because I think that a lot of times people go through this and they're not sure where to turn to, and then they demonize their fear. And I think that there is such a profound sense of comfort and even relief that we get when we realize that fear is actually on our side. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending this half hour with me. I didn't realize I was talking that long, but you know, that's how I am sometimes. And yeah, thank you so much. Blessed be. I'll see you next time.